There's a lot of things to speak. It used to be in the olden days that you would tell somebody, make sure not to take too many pictures, that the film should finish. The cameras had film, and it would finish. In the movies, you only had to keep feeding the plastic. But today, everybody has 1 terabyte of hard drive. The video can run, and the AI can filter out and find the key words that you want to hear. So we can until the Gaboim will say it's time to stop. Okay, in the meantime we'll start. Siven. And since I saw that those that spoke before me set the precedent that they can speak Hergeshim, and we can connect personal things and connections and so on, and I think it's correct actually, because Chav Siven is a day where we come to Chatzikad HaTachton. It's a day where we have to make it ours. So let me say like this. Everybody knows that Tes Adar, we watched the Sikha before, Tes Adar, the Frierdiker Rebbe came to America. And the Frierdiker Rebbe came to America, and the slogan is, and the Rebbe continued to repeat it for us, what? The Frierdiker Rebbe said, America is nicht anders. America is no different. For those that said that the yeshivas and all the things it's over. Rabbi, it's not Europe over here. This is America. Rabbi, this is America. And the Rebbe said, America is nicht anders. The Rebbe said, I'm not going to sleep till I have a yeshiva, a minyan of Tamimim, and there was a minyan of Tamimim. And of course, we know that what the Frierdiker Rebbe said, the Rebbe continued to develop and to talk and to speak. But interestingly, sometimes we find that the Rebbe Bechlal had a different gang. One of the famous things, which was only discovered after Gimel Tammuz, is the Zugang zum Meifsim. There's a letter where the Rebbe asks the Frierdiker Rebbe, I don't understand, why should it be that we don't kochsach in Meifsim? And even after the answers, the Rebbe bleibt bei Seins, but till Shnas Nisim and Aren on Iflois, the doctrine, so to speak, the speech around the Chassidish Farbrengen table was still Eises und Meifsim bad Masmenecham, the Meifsim Valgen Zachin Tun Tish, we're Chabad, we don't have time for that. And the Rebbe had a totally different outlook. It became clear in the Nuns, but then after the Gilui of the Rishimas, we see that was in the Tzaddiks already. I'm not sure, I don't remember when that letter was. It was in the Tzaddiks. When it comes to coming to America, the Frierdiker Rebbe says America is nicht anders. What does the Rebbe say? There's a Sikha, Shabbos Bereishis Tofshin Lamed Gimel. You guys all know it? In the Sichas Kodesh, it's not as complete. I would imagine that in Teis Menachem Stama they took from a few different Hanochas of the same Farbrengen. But just to paraphrase, this is as I say, Shabbos Pashas Bereishis Tafshin Lamed Gimel. That in our times, Ein lis chashev b'inyanim shel medidus v'agbolos. You don't have to be worried about limitations. But we have to work in a way of the magic words of the Rebbe that we heard time and time again. Lechatchila ariber. K'medube b'svadus akademis. The Rebbe said, I spoke already. Simchas Torah. Yom Simchas Torah. That we spoke about it, but a little less barichas. Shakasha Chaim b'medina kazu. When you live in such a medina that the whole hanhaga is b'efen da ariber, so then it's much easier to also implement in Kedusha the Avodah of Lechatchila Riba. And this is what the Medrash says. And these, I think, is the key words, which we heard on Yud Shvat, Tavshin Yud Aleph. I say we heard, because we have a tape, Baruch Hashem. Azlas lekarta holach benimusa. If you come to a city, you adopt the methodology, the minhag, the tradition of that place. Ay lechere nemuven hayitochen. We know that Torah tells us that we're not supposed to learn. We came to change the reality of the city we came to. So how pshat that the Torah is telling us you came to a city, you have to adopt nimusa, you have to adopt its habits, you have to adopt its style. Zok the Rebbe that we're not saying chas v'shalom that one takes the hashkafas, the philosophies, the traditions, the hanhogas of the city. What we're saying is holach b'nimusa, those inyanim, those particulars that one is able to adopt and to adapt and to integrate into the avodah of kedusha, those are the things we have to take. U'b'negel inyanenu. And the Rabbi gives some very radical examples. We live in a Medina where you see that b'poil, America, you see b'poil the anhoga is an oifen of ariber. When they buy a clay, that garment, you wear it for a little time and afterwards throw it out and buy a new beged. Today they call it, in the code word is the Walmart generation, right? They buy a car, drive it for a while, and afterwards, doesn't matter what the car looks like, if it's good condition, not good condition, even if everything's working, you could still drive in it, to drive it, buy a new car. Even if bichlal lechatchila, lav dafka, the guy needs a car. Maybe he went daled amas, gimel amas, he didn't... But if the car, this is the Rebbe talking in Tavshin Lamed Gimel Shabbos Bereishis, which is what? Which is 1972, October 1972. If it says on the car 71, take shenisht. He needs to have a car of 72. And the Rebbe says, the Machmirim want already a car that should say 73. The Rebbe is saying that this Hanhoga, this American Hanhoga, of Hisrachvos, of Breitkeit, is that's an akuda. There's a thread there, a hanhoga there of lechatchila riber. Says yeshlo natzaleis lekdusha, you have to use it for kedusha. We should be in a oifen of a ishalcha berachava, to have a breitkeit in all the Torah mitzvahs. Then the Rebbe says in punkt fakert, it's not we're taking from the nimus of ishalcha berachava, of the breitkeit of America. We already have a medrash that loy hoya ha'olam loy lishtamish bezav, and in the Sichas Kodesh in the Yiddish it says that the whole zahav is breitkeit. The fact that there's breitkeit in the Welt is in order it should be used for kedusha. And the farida breitkeit, derech agav, it was also given to the world, that the world, those certain places in the world can be misnag in oifen of breitkeit, oifen of archova, with a broad, expansive way, not in a pakvetchte way, not in a limited way, not in a oizri cheshmenta way, but in a way where they say the way it is the way they say, and they go with lechatchila riba, my way or the highway. That's the way it's going to be. The Rebbe comes, says this, and says that already in Yud Shvat, that America is a place to make a statement and publicity, and I'm going to make a statement. So on one side, America is nicht anders. On the other side, America is really anders. And America lends itself to lechatchila riber. To be honest, I felt that way a few years ago, but when I had the big gilui of learning the Sikha of Tavshin Lamed Gimel, Shabbos Bereishis, Mamish, this is Eizgitayich. The Rebbe says it beferish. And you find that the Rebbe told American Chassidim, there's a game with a breitkeit. The Rebbe, breitkeit, Zohav, Vasalcha Barachava, Lechatchila Ribe, it's all interconnected. We're coming from Parsha Shlach. And the Maisa with Shlach is a big problem. These Anoshim, the problem is they're Anoshim and Tzadikim, and then something goes wrong. So there's a Eira Chaim, listen to this. If you haven't seen it, it's a few lines there. The Eira Chaim Mamish comes to 2025. The Eira Chaim says, Shlach lecha Anoshim. He has a big question. Rashi tells us Anoshim be'isashok sherim, right? We all learn Gemara Seita. That's one Masechta we're all stark behavent. What does the Gemara say in Masechta Seita? Vayelchu vayovayu. Ma bi asam be'etzara, af halichasam be'etzara. Right? They came from Losu Sa'aras, they came from spying the land with a bad Eitzah. Says the Gemara in Seita, af halichasam be'etzara, they also went with Eitzara. What kind of they went with Eitzara? Didn't we say Beisak Shak Shedim Hayu? When they left, they were good. The Nachfrekte that the Medrash Bamidbar Rabba says that Shluchim Shesholach Moshe, Meraglim Shesholach Moshe, Rishoim Hayu. Kidichsiv Shlach Lecha Anoshim. Where do you see in Shlach Lecha Anoshim that Rishoim? Faket, Anoshim is Tzadikim. No, what's the answer? He answers like this. That the Eibishter was telling Moshe Rabbeinu, Lecha Anoshim. B'shas that these people are standing in your presence, when they're directly in your Daled Ames, when they're under the influence of your persona, Anoshim, they're Ksherim, they're Tzadikim. From this you have to understand that if they leave Lecha, if they leave your presence, when they go out, Vayelchu, the moment they leave the presence of Moshe Rabbeinu, those Anoshim are no longer Anoshim Tzadikim, Ksherim, but they're going to turn into Rishoim. The whole question is the Lecha. Are they standing in the presence of Moshe Rabbeinu and under the influence of Moshe Rabbeinu? They can retain the Lecha. The moment that there isn't a Lecha, Vayelchu ma biyosam beitzara, afalichasam beitzara. The moment Vayelchu, they left Moshe Rabbeinu's presence, they were taka beitzara immediately. They lost the plot. There's a story. It's not a Lubavitcher story. It's a story from a Rebbe. Many different names attributed to it. And he had a chassid. He would, it was from this Hasidic court was in some shtetl somewhere in Eastern Europe, and he had a chassid that had to go to Vienna. Vienna was the modern Stadt, very modern. He was a little worried about his chassid, what's going to happen to him in Vienna. And he told his chassid, in Vienna they say there's very good cigars. If you can get him a fine cigar. This chassid didn't know that his Rebbe was a smoker of cigars, but the Rebbe asked for a cigar. So he went to do business in Vienna, and the whole time in Vienna he's busy looking for the cigar. Comes back and he finds, from the best tobacconist, from the best provider, he finds a cigar. Comes and brings it to his Rebbe. His Rebbe said, thank you very much, but I didn't need the cigar. I needed that when you're in Vienna, instead of being attracted or distracted by all kinds of glitz, by all kinds of things that are grabbing your attention, I wanted you should be thinking about me. Think about this. The world didn't see this so much. The world saw Netanyahu going to the Kaisel with Atalis, with the Shila Ma'alot Esayinai Laharim, a Kapitel Tilim, and we're putting in a note, which nobody knew what it was. And nobody knew what was going to happen. Only later, we knew that he knew what button he was going to press a few hours later. But something happened the day before, 2 days before that, which was a little bit fell out of attention a little bit. But we, the Lubavitcher Chassidim, got it right away. The the president of Argentina came, and he brought a portrait or a picture, whatever it was, of Netanyahu going to the Rebbe. And what happens there is unbelievable. Because let's understand this. Netanyahu, how many years ago was Netanyahu by the Rebbe? Some might say 40 years. It was a Tavshim Memhei when nobody understood why the Rebbe is spending so much time, such an investment of time. Simchas Torah. Remember Simchas Torah? And then again by dollars. But 40 years. Let's pay. Hey, it's mamish 40 years from then. You could imagine. It's a memory by him. Whatever he did, doesn't remember. But here, Milamayla, he was brought to a position where he starts chazering over in his words. Not that somebody told him and he has to say Amen. That's nice. Somebody says something, you say Amen, you yaitze. But when mitzvah bay, when he himself chazes over all the yechidus with all the details, the lecha, that's an unbelievable thing. You see that what it says in the Svarim, it's Tzadike Dispater, what it says, that the Rebbe becomes more lebedik and more effects here in Eilam Haza Gashmi. You're talking about epic world events that the direct moral compass, the direct Mozen Ruchni, the direct Dvar Hashem that's being transmitted from Torah directly to the leaders of the world that need to make moral decisions that have such weighty implications that the only place you can take them from is from Dvar Havaya. The only place you can take them from is from Torah. How else can you take such a decision? The only place it can come is B'siyata Dishmaya. And the Rebbe is there with the leader that has to make that decision, and he's repeating those moments where the Rebbe told him that even one light, kindle a light, it looks like there's nothing that can be done. It looks like the darkness is impenetrable. It looks like the world is chaotic. There's nobody that's at your side, but you can light a candle. And you light a candle, the candle eventually, the candle of truth, will dispel the darkness. Those words of the Rebbe were the spiritual message that reverberate that reverberate all over the world. And for the first time in recent history, the fact that the world events are clearly being connected and following the path of the bringing down the Shechina Lamata. The words that are being saying, I love God, God bless America, bless God, B'siyata Dishmaya, Be'ezrat Hashem, the Tfil, the Talis. It's Pashat. We're living in a time where we don't even understand what's happening. And that 40 years later, the 31 years since Gimel Tammuz, B'derech le derech, a non-Jewish president and a thing. And the Rebbe's words are reverberating in the world louder than ever. And all of us who are sitting here, and all of us who are together all around the world seeing it, I'm usually on the other side of the broadcast. I'm watching from my computer. Here I'm on this side of it. We have a mission. And the mission is Chavches Siven, where yes, we came, we arrived. We arrived in Chatzak Tachton, we came to America. The center was transplanted to New York, Chatzak Tachton, the lower hemisphere in terms of where the Torah was given. But right here, don't resist it, my friends. The Rebbe is saying, what needs to be resisted, where we need to be ironclad, where America's nishtandish, that we know. But there's an Ephraim. Hifrani elikim be'eretz oni, the next level, as the Rebbe speaks, is not just Nashani, Menashe. There's an Ephraim. We have to take the arrival in America, the lechatchila riba that America provides, the expansiveness, the breitkeit, which the Rebbe says is benimusa. This is the part of America which we are able to use, which we must use. And if you If somebody has any question about what does it mean 31 years from Gimel Tammuz, this is not for Bachrim. I'm speaking to post-Bachrim. Should get on a plane. Bachrim should sit and learn. Bachrim already get on the planes too much. They have to sit and learn. But those that are after that, get on a plane and start going from Shliach to Shliach to Shliach to Shliach to Shliach to one Beis Chabad, another Beis Chabad, mikvahs in places you would never imagine, Batei Sefer in places you would never imagine, Batei Chabad, one bigger than the other. In every single location, one more remote than the other, and in the close locations, in every single kreis, in every single group, the words of the Rebbe are spreading. The pa'ulas of the Rebbe, when the Rebbe says mer lebediker umer aktiv, you see it. Where there was one shliach in Tafshin Nun Beis, in Asia there was two shluchim. In Tafshin Nun Daled there were two shluchim. Today there's 50, Baruch Hashem, and that's the way it is in every single place in the world. So what's our Aveda? Our Aveda is obviously we have to do the last whatever is needed to bring the Shechina Lamata in a permanent way, and Chav Ches Siven is the beginning of that final approach. You know, today we all go on planes, right? So we know that there's the final approach. They tell you to put on your seatbelts. We're landing. The landing, nobody knows exactly how long it takes to land, but we're landing. Put the landing gear down and we're landing. The plane is landing now. So im dohachin kulchem, get ready. Do what we got to do. Einem in the Welt. Cholach b'nei Musa. From 770, we're marching out. We're not kind of straggling out, schlumping out. We're marching out. We know what it means. Mifsoim, noch a Portfilm, more Neshek, noch a Beis Chabad. More Yidden should give, B'chol Ma'edcha should give money to be part of the Hirod Ashchina Lamata. So many different things we have to do, and all stem from one nekuda. To be mekusher, be ilona dechaya, we all have to have one word we have to all say, and that is Hineni. Darf sich zustellen, Hineni. We're here by the Rebbe. Whatever I'm needed for, I'm ready. Chaim.